Summary of Cyrano de Bergerac by Edmond Rostand. A loud crowd of city people attends a pornographic play in Paris around 1640. A young, appealing baron named Christian de Novelette is present at the play. Christian has recently developed feelings for a stunning young woman. He discovers the woman's name to be Roxane that evening from a local alcoholic named Lignier. Lignier explains that the cocky, youthful Viscount de Valverde is after Roxane. While Roxane is obviously attracted to the powerful Count de Guiche, who already has a fiancée, Valverde is working on his behalf. A stranger jumps onto the stage and yells "Stop" as the play starts. The man, Cyrano de Bergerac, reveals that he has forbidden the performance's lead actor, Montfleury, from performing in a play ever again. When Cyrano draws his sword, audience members who had been complaining that he was disrupting the play suddenly stop. Loubret and Ragueneau, two of Cyrano's closest friends, describe Cyrano as a gifted and witty gentleman and caution his fellow students against making fun of Cyrano's nose. Cyrano challenges Valverde to a duel when Cyrano makes comments about Valverde's nose. Cyrano impresses the playgoers by creating an elaborate, derogatory poem about Valverde on the spot as they are watching the battle, and he overcomes Valverde just as the poem is being completed. Cyrano discovers that Lignier will be assaulted that night by a huge army of 100 soldiers while serving in the military. Additionally, Cyrano confesses his love for Roxane to Loubret and Ragueneau. Roxane is later revealed to be his cousin. Despite being intelligent and eloquent, Cyrano is hesitant to express his thoughts since he believes Roxane will find him repulsive despite his hideous appearance. Cyrano learns that Roxane wants to meet with him the following morning that evening. Excited, Cyrano voluntarily offers to valiantly protect Lignier that evening from his adversaries. The following morning, Roxane is waiting for Cyrano at Ragueneau's pastry store. He had successfully saved Lignier from 100 soldiers the previous evening thanks to his love for Roxane. When Roxane arrives at the bakery, she informs Cyrano that she must declare her love for Christian, one of Cyrano's fellow soldiers in the army. Cyrano is obviously disappointed by this information, but he agrees to defend Christian from harm and discover whether Christian still loves Roxane. The Count de Guiche enters the bakery after Roxane has left. The Count is profoundly offended by Cyrano's gloomy disregard for de Guiche notwithstanding his friendlier greetings from Cyrano. The pastry shop is crowded with Cyrano's fellow cadets who are curious to hear about the fight he had the night before. Christian is spotted by Cyrano amid the warriors. In an effort to demonstrate his bravery, Christian, a new soldier, insults Cyrano's nose. Cyrano, who is enraged but helpless to exact revenge on Christian, queries the latter about his feelings for Roxane. Christian responds that he does, but he acknowledges that he lacks the communication skills required to seduce Roxane. Unbeknownst to Christian, Cyrano creates a love letter that he has written for Roxane and instructs Christian to present it to Roxane in his own name. Christian joyfully accepts the letter but is unaware that Roxane is Cyrano's true love. Christian will act as the face of the operation while Cyrano provides the persuasive words in their joint scheme to seduce Roxane. A few weeks later, Christian has been successful in wooing Roxane by writing her letters. Christian must now speak with Roxane face to face. Because of Cyrano's writings, Roxane had been expecting a genius, but when Christian first speaks to her, he is so tongue-tied that Roxane is extremely disappointed. Christian flees in disgust. The Count de Guiche, who is still deeply in love with Roxane, then comes into contact with her. De Guiche begs Roxane for the opportunity to visit her later that evening, explaining that he would shortly be sent to Arras to battle. Roxane instructs de Guiche to meet her later that evening since she understands that if he is ordered to combat, Christian and the other soldiers would also have to accompany him. Christian and Cyrano visit Roxane's home later on in the evening to court her. At first, Roxane, who is watching from her window, is hesitant to continue talking to Christian. Though Roxane is unaware that the person she is listening to is actually her cousin, Cyrano impresses her by emulating Christian's voice. Christian has Roxane so infatuated that she invites him into her home so that they can share an embrace. On behalf of the Count de Guiche, a monk makes his way to Roxane's home in the interim. Roxane deceives the monk into instantly marrying her to Christian. Roxane has already been married to Christian by the time the Count shows up at her house. De Guiche, indignant, makes a promise to send Cyrano and Christian to the front lines of the siege of Arras. Before Cyrano and Christian are deployed to battle, Roxane commands Cyrano to see that Christian writes to her frequently. Christian feels as though he is starving during the terrible famine at the siege of Arras. Cyrano frequently signs his lengthy, passionate letters to Roxane with the name Christian. The Count de Guiche announces the impending war when he visits the soldiers' camp one day. Roxane appears at the camp all of a sudden. She explains that as a result of reading Cyrano's letters, she has grown to love Christian so intensely that she felt driven to visit him. Roxane states that she doesn't care about Christian's appearance at this time since she is in love with his wit and eloquence. This makes Christian uncomfortable since it implies that Roxane is really in love with Cyrano. Cyrano offers Christian one final letter to deliver to Roxane in case he is slain as the battle is about to start. Christian starts to understand that Roxane and Cyrano share a similar affection for each other. Christian is adamant that Cyrano must be honest with Roxane. However, there's a shot and Christian collapses to the ground, the first casualty of the war, just as Cyrano is ready to confess his affections to Roxane. Cyrano understands that he can never express his feelings to Roxane. Roxane relocates to a convent to live in mourning after Christian's passing. After 15 years, Cyrano has aged into an outcast. He has a large number of adversaries due to his combative nature and confrontational demeanor. He visits Roxane at her convent once a week, but he never confesses his feelings for her. De Guiche, who is now a powerful duke, pays Roxane a visit one day at the monastery. He tells Cyrano's final two companions, Lebret and Ragueneau, that someone is preparing to ambush him by placing a large weight on his head, and they run off to warn him. Cyrano arrives at the convent shortly after with his hat pulled low over his head. Talking about their lives and remembering Christian, Cyrano and Roxane share memories. Cyrano starts reading from memory the letter Christian sent her, which Roxane produces. Roxane understands that Christian's letters were written by Cyrano. Lebret and Ragueneau suddenly run back, but it's too late. In order to show that he has already been attacked and is slowly perishing from his wounds, Cyrano removes his hat, displaying a thick bandage. Cyrano is placed on the earth by Roxane, Ragueneau, and Lebret sobbing. Cyrano tells Roxane that he has always loved her as he is about to pass away. Weeping, Roxane assures Cyrano that she will never forget him, just as she has never forgotten Christian since his passing. The last thing Cyrano says before passing away is that he will take with him to heaven when he dies, his panache.
About the author. Edmond Rostand was born in Marseille to an erudite middle-class family.
Rostand enrolled in the elite college Stanislas in Paris as a youngster after his parents pushed him to pursue a career in philosophy, literature, and history. While still in his 20s, he managed to have many plays produced before he was 25. Les Romanesques, one of his most well-known plays and the inspiration for the Fantastics, one of the longest-running Broadway musicals ever, had its world premiere in 1894. With the success of his subsequent play, Cyrano De Bergerac, which had its world debut in 1897, Rostand rose to prominence as one of Europe's most renowned playwrights. None of his latter works, which featured plays about Metternich and the Napoleonic Wars, were as successful as his early ones. One of the many millions of people killed by the world flu epidemic in 1918, he passed away.
Hope we summarized it fully and you liked it. Please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel so that we are motivated to create more videos.